Welcome to Papa's Happy Place. You ever had a problem with the diet? How did your resolutions go last year? We've all been there. The second week of January, the new year, new me adrenaline is officially worn off. Your brain is telling you deserve a reward for the long day, but your calendar is just telling you no. Most people fail their New Year's resolutions because they rely on willpower. But willpower is like a battery, drains throughout the day. By the time your evening hits, your battery is at 1%. With alcohol, it can be even harder. Not only the mental dependency, but there can be a physical dependency as well. Listen, I come from a family, like a lot of us do, that have some chemical dependency issues. So this year, for a change, I'm going to share with the world how I sometimes do a shake-up. This year, I'm not using willpower. I'm using biology. I'm doing damp January. I'm not going with dry January. And I'm using this episode's beer, a low alcohol, no alcohol, citrus pilsner. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into the science and biology of how this specific brew stops cravings by focusing on satiety, and how a rest period actually rewires your brain for the rest of the year. Let me get my intro out of the way, and we'll talk more about this. Welcome to Papa's Happy Place. All right, let's talk about this rest period. Why do we feel the need to do it every January? Our livers, over a long time, get overloaded with the alcohol that we drink. And sometimes we need to take a little rest period, relax, and give our bodies the break that they need to get back into functioning shape. And some people do this in a full stop and crash, and then when they come back out of it, and they're getting to the end of January, like, woohoo, time to party. And then they just hit their body hard again. But if you can take little short breaks or little mini slowdowns and let your body catch back up, you'll be in much better shape. Now, why damp instead of dry? If you go 100% dry, you often do February 1st as your finish line to start drinking again. Damp January is about mindful consumption. It's about learning to enjoy the taste and the ritual without the chemical baggage. It's not a 1 month fix, it's a lifestyle calibration. Now, to make a low alcohol or non-alcoholic beer that's satisfied, we need to increase some things, right? We need to have the malt body, we need to have those hop aromas, and we need to have an acidic bite, right? The malt, which I'm going to be using the Pilsner malt, and I'm going to use a little bit of melanoidin malt and some wheat for some head retention. I am putting the whole recipe down in a link in the description. So if you want to do this beer yourself, you can. It's just a matter of taking a little time and letting it brew up and then ferment out. You could have this beer in a couple weeks. Okay? So, Pilsner, where we're using a premium grade German Pilsner malt. Light, cracker-like clean. Has a nice sweet bready flavor. I'm using a little melanoidin malt. That's to give me just a little color and to give me a little bit caramel flavor with it. Right? And then the wheat, again, I said, for head retention. I want to have that nice, I want this to remind me of a beer. I don't want it to just have that flat top. I want some head retention on this. So that gives me the visual with it too. And I want it nice and clear. The hops, all right? Now you could go with the traditional German style Pilsner that has those Hallertaus and those, but I wanted something a little different, and I wanted something that was going to be crisp and refreshing and give me kind of a different flavor. So I went with citrus, and I went, what gives me citrus? I went Amarillo. And the Amarillo is going to give me some orangey, citrus, grapefruit kind of flavors and aromas, and that in that beer, that Pilsner, and it's going to have that little bite. Orange, a lemon, a grapefruit, that little bite. Then the citrus. We're going to use the peels off of this, just the outer edge of the peel off of a citrus fruit. And we're going to just put that in right at the end of fermentation. Just as we're letting it finish finishing out, we're going to let them oils and everything go into this beer, and it's going to give it just a little more citrus. It's also going to give it some bite. Now, being this is a non-alcohol, low-alcoholic beer, we're also going to have to reduce and make sure that our pH is below a 4.5. You probably will need some pH strips, or you're going to need a pH meter to do this. Once you get it down there, then it's safe. Most of your buggies that you don't want in there will not survive in that environment. So, and that'll give it a little more of a zip, a bite, and a sting. For the brew day on this, we're trying to get as low of a beta amylase as we can get. To do that, we're going to have to ferment high, about 165 degrees, what we're aiming for. By mashing this high, we're breaking these enzymes. We're creating dextrins. These are the long chain sugars. Think of them as the heavy sugars. The yeast look at these and says, no, too big to eat. And that's what we want in our beer. We want some of them long chain sugars. Give us the flavors, give us that mouthfeel, gives everything, but it doesn't give us the alcohol. And that's gonna give us something in our body so we can be able to consume that. When we get into the boil and we get into adding our hops, we're gonna have to put them a little later in, because we don't want a lot of IBUs in this, because we do not want a real hoppy beer with this. We want those flavors, but we don't want that real fill. And if we let too much hops and too long, we're gonna have a pretty heavy bite. We don't want a bite with this. We want to have the flavors and just a little bit of bite, but we want the citrus and we want the acids to give us our bite and that snap that we're trying to get with this Pilsner. All right, I'm gonna do the brew day, get this beer going, and I'm gonna talk you through it as I go. And then when we get to fermentation, we're gonna talk about how these yeasties work. So let's get at the brew day. Okay, brew day pretty much went like this. I weighed up my grains, which were 2 pounds Bohemian Pilsner from Byerman. Now that Bohemian Pilsner is going to give me kind of a cracker, kind of a bready cracker taste. That's what I wanted from it. And I had 4 ounces of wheat, which was Viking malt. And that wheat is going to give me some head retention. It's going to make that little bit of cap if I can get it. And then 1 ounce of the melanoidin. A melanoidin is going to give me just a little bit of caramel. Then I brought my water up. I got 8.66 gallons, so I put about 8.7. I can't get that close with, but I put 8.7 gallons of water in my kettle. Started to bring it up to temp. The strike temperature on this one's gonna be pretty hot. The reason being is I want them long strand sugars. I want that dextrose, maltodextrose. I want those long strand sugars. So I gotta mash high. So I started at 167 for my strike water. And since I didn't have a lot of grains in this one, I knew I wasn't going to lose a lot of temp. So I was going to go down to 163 to 165. That's where I'm going to get them long strain sugars. While my water was coming up to temp, I ground my grains. Normally I'd want to be pretty coarse
with my grind on this so that I didn't get as much efficiency. The problem with this is I already had these grains pre-milled when I ordered the batch, and so it was just a regular grind. I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Home brewing. I weighed out my salt. 4 grams calcium chloride, 2 3/4 grams of gypsum. That's all the salts I had on it. Once my water got up to temp, put my grains in. Let it mash for 30 minutes. That's all I wanted to mash on this, just to keep that efficiency down so I didn't get as many sugars out of this as if I had done a long mash. I didn't do a step mash, I did the single mash, and I didn't want that efficiency. Once I got done with that, I was already almost out at mash out, so I just brought it up to a boil. Pulled my grain on this one because of the Pilsner malt. I went with a 60-minute boil, and at 30 minutes, I put in 0.65 ounces of Amarillo. That's my citric. That's my orangey, fruity, kind of citrusy, what I want my Pilsner to taste like. And then at 15 minutes, I put in some Whirlfloc and some yeast nutrient. Finished off my boil, let it sit overnight. I don't particularly have a way to chill my wort right now, and I found that if I keep the lid covered, put a little plastic wrap on it, let it sit overnight, it'll be down where I need it for the next day. The next day, I put it in the fermenter and pitched my yeast. I went with fermenters, 3470. Mostly because I already had it going on several of my last brews, and just keep going. Why would I change my yeast unless I'm changing style? This is like Pilsner lager. I've already got the yeast in the I've already got the yeast harvested from the last several. I just used it again. The fermentation on this, 65 degrees right at the top end, but I'm fermenting under pressure. I had 15 pounds on this dog, right up there. It wasn't full blast, but I had 15 pounds on it. I want to keep everything squashed. I didn't want a whole lot of aroma, anything. I did do a diacetyl rest at 68 degrees for 3 days. I cold crashed it. Now it's sitting over in the geyser, cooling, getting good. So let's do a tasting. There it is, kids. Pop a Citric Pilsner. It's a little sample right now. Don't want to use it all. It's only been a couple weeks, but it's clear already. I can see through it. It's a straw pale color. It's got some bubbles coming up. Head protection's not the greatest, but I did get a little bit of head on it. Force carb this one with 9 pounds for about a week. That's what I got. Nice little beer. All right. Do aroma. Just get a little sweetness, a little breadiness. I'm not getting citrus, but that may not be anything important. No, citrus and breadiness, or a little sweetness and breadiness. All right, mouthfeel. Crisp, just crisp. With my water profile where it was, I expected crisp. I'm not getting a very strong mouthfeel, just crisp. It's well carbonated, so that helps keep that mouthfeel where it needs to be. Part of the non-alcoholic, you want to have other senses kick in. All right, flavor. Yeah, I get just a mild beer with some citrus. I can't just name a citrus that really jumps out at me right here, but it's a nice little tasting beer. It tastes like a beer. All right, this didn't quite get to 0.5% to make it non-alcoholic, but it's 0.8%. So it's still really low, guys. There's nothing wrong with that. Nice tasting beer. Got some lacing on the glass, had a little head. This reminds me of a beer. And a couple of these and I'd be satisfied. This is a nice little tasting beer. Again, not the taste of that beer we used to get 15 years ago, the non-alcoholic beer that was real watery and didn't taste like a whole lot. This is actually tastes like a beer, and it actually, it's got, you know, some of the beer attitude. A little beer reminds me of a beer. Okay. All right. You made it this far. Thank you. Appreciate you sharing your time with me. If you really want to try one of these, brew your own. They have a lot of the newer stuff out in the stores. The non-alcoholics, really good. I've had some of them. They taste like beer too. So, don't deny, guys. Appreciate. Try it. Find out that it's not just wait until the end of January to start drinking again. Let's appreciate some of these non-alcoholic beers, and let's use them more often during the year so that we're saving our body. Thanks for coming to Papa's Happy Place. I should have some cards coming up. Like and subscribe. You know the routine, guys. And I'm going to be putting out some more of these, so come on back. I'd love to have you.